Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this wonderful show today. Today we're gonna be talking about why the Grand National Dialogue that was held in Yaoundé failed, and we're gonna hear from some participants who took part in the Grand National Dialogue in Yaoundé. Let's get some feedback about what transpired there. But you understand that it failed, and we are no more talking about Grand National Dialogue anymore. But it's interesting to see where the Yaoundé regime is trying to do. They are trying to say that when the participant went to when the Grand National Dialogue failed, the Yaoundé regime said that the premise of any negotiation would be the Grand National Dialogue, the outcome of the Grand National Dialogue. And you understand when they say that, it means that they are the one trying to decide on the subject matter of any negotiation process. That is why Switzerland failed. First of all, that is why the Grand National Dialogue failed, and why the other discussions that were held failed in Canada, failed in Switzerland, and any other conference that has been held that has been participants that were there. Okay, and that is not what is called negotiation process. That is why most of the members of the interim government, nobody in the diaspora that is looking for self-determination took part in that Grand National Dialogue. All those who took part were those people who were there in Cameroon, and they were invited by the regime to come and sit. Majority of them were CPGM people. And from the discussions that we gather, you can tell a lot of misrepresentations. Okay, now I want to play this from Archbishop Nkea so that you understand why Archbishop was saying that Von Mukete, who was a senator then, said that any discussion should be a 10-state federation. That is what Archbishop Nkea was saying. Okay. Meanwhile, the other party who was there, they said Munzo had his own discussion about federation. Agbobala had their own federation, about different type of federation, and different speakers had their own opinion about different discussions. Okay, but I want to play so that you can understand, you can listen to what Archbishop Nkea is saying. He took part in that Grand National Dialogue. Okay, I'll play some excerpt of his discussion.
You were seen in several occasions advocating for peace. You also led the caravan.
I did a 2-hour interview with Radio Evangelium of Mamfe to explain to the people what had happened in the dialogue. What happened? When we went in for a grand dialogue, I must be clear to you, the bishops of this province had already put out a memorandum to the Prime Minister in preparation for the dialogue to stand for federation. We said federation. And this is how we went into the dialogue. Now, this is what I want to explain to your televiewers.
Right.
When we went into that dialogue and we started talking, this was still the opening of the dialogue. It was Chief Elect von Nkea who got up and he made an analysis. All the videos are still there. Von Nkea started by saying that the position of the Southwest was that they don't want to have anything to do with the Northwest. And that if they are talking about federation, the Southwest position was that they didn't want any federation as long as that would have them to do with the Northwest. We're all in this hall. And Nkea went back to history to analyze the divisions and the disagreements between Southwest and Northwest. And that federation on condition that Southwest and Northwest are not together.
That is an allegation that has been, we have heard that allegation of that the Southwest people do not want discussion to do with a federal system to do with the Northwest, the Southwest and Northwest. That is what Mola Lisinge, who was there, rejected that allegation. He said that allegation made by barrister or Archbishop Nkea is false. Okay, so that we should know where the allegation is coming from, because from the discussion you can tell that Archbishop Nkea is saying of the opening ceremony. That is what von Nkea was saying in his own part as the CPDM senator. He was not saying on behalf of all the people of Southern Zone, according to what we knew about that. Okay, because we have to start clearing the dust, because there are a lot of things that went on in that Grand National Dialogue that first of all, there was a lot of misrepresentation. A lot. Okay, keep listening.
Now, when he said this was the position that the Southwest brought to dialogue. And the Southwest said 10-state federation. They were for federation, but 10-state federation. One man from the east and one from the north got up and said, look, we have never been a state. Why do you want to force us into statehood? You say you want 10 states. Why are you forcing us to be a state? You were a state, you know what it means. We have never been. So we don't want. Why do you want to force us into statehood? You say you want 10 states. Why are you forcing us to be a state? You were a state, you know what it means. We have never been. So we don't want state. Big argument broke out in the hall. And in the end, it is some lawyer who got up and went back to the Constitution and said, okay, with these arguments, there is provision for special status. Okay. So let us go back now to this Constitution and see how this special status can help Northwest and Southwest remain a little bit independent, but at the same time, not within the Federation. This was a compromise position that came out of the dialogue, because the Southwest position was that they wanted Federation, but nothing to do with the Northwest. These are clear facts of history that we lived through in the Grand National Dialogue. So now people are arguing, oh, they want federation, they want this and the other. We sat in that hall, and this is how the word special status came about. This is something that we can say is the fruit of the dialogue. And since then, what I think is that the decentralization process and the process of the independence...
There's a lot of misrepresentation, as according to what Maitre Alex Lisinge is saying, and I want you to listen to Alex Lisinge, who was there in one of these, the 8 commissions or the 8 committees that were there, and you listen to his own take, because the version of Archbishop Nkea is just trying to be very divisive, and in terms of, we know as a man of God, Bishop Nkea has visited America several times to meet different leaders sent by the CPTN regime. So we have to understand that he is somebody who's been too much inclined to politics, that he does not see the interests of the people. He sees the interests of the government. That's how Bishop Nkea has made himself to be too inclined. I want a lot of discussion to come, but let's listen to Maitre Alex Lisinge stake.
In connection to the position of Southwest region during the major national dialogue. I don't understand, or I don't know if the Archbishop is mistaken, or he is being economical with the truth, or he is deliberately misleading the people of British Cameroon and La République du Cameroun. I was present in the national dialogue. This is my badge, the general badge, to participate. Then we had 8 committees, and I was in committee number 8. That's what? Decentralization Committee. He talked about the opening ceremony. The opening ceremony had nothing to do with the various committees where you have to debate and discuss issues. The opening ceremony, the CPDM government selected certain people to speak during the opening ceremony. Chief Mukete was one of them. Dr. Munzu was one of them. Late John Fundi was one of them. There's a lady called Bayere something, whether it's a poet or what, of Cameroonian in France. I'm not sure, I don't know the name. So that was the open ceremony. My point is, Archbishop Nkea knows that Chief Mukete was a militant, a senator rather, of CPDM political party. So you cannot, I'm not sure, I don't know the name. So that was
Alex Lisinge has made an allegation about that. In the opening ceremony of the Grand National Dialogue, there were certain people that were selected by the CPDM regime. And you understand, all of them were giving their talking points. Okay? Because the organization of this Grand National Dialogue is just in contrast to what negotiation process is. The Cameroon government organizes this Grand National Dialogue to favor them, to favor the CPDM party, to favor those people who are close to them, okay, so that they can use that narrative that, okay, we have had negotiation or dialogue with the people of Southern Cameroon, and this is the outcome, okay. But if you look at the discussions that came out, there was a lot of setbacks, okay. There are a lot of people that like the leaders in their diaspora criticize it. Someone like Alex Lisinge, when but he saw it with so people like others who visited, who went there for the dialogue. But we told them the organization of that dialogue is not to favor the people of Southern Cameroon. It was in favor of the Yaoundé regime. Okay, because number one, there was lack of inclusivity. Okay, many key stakeholders, particularly the interim government and the other groups, were not invited. They were invited, but they said the arena for that discussion, that is not the best place for any discussion. Okay, some of the civil society attended and others, attended, but that the argument was that it is not inclusive. The government maintained that it involved smaller groups and a lot of those arguments were there, but you saw that there was no inclusivity. The fact that the government had to pick certain CPDM people to go and start making those speeches, that was insincerity, right? Insincerity. And so many of the Ambazonian leaders view this Grand National Dialogue as a mere propaganda to bolster the CPDM regime. Okay, and that is why it failed in the first place, because there was no point you making that kind of dialogue, organizing that kind of dialogue with prepared resolutions. Okay, they already prepared their resolutions, then they'll come and sit as if they want to dialogue. Okay, those weak implementation of those resolutions, where they will tell you that, okay, go and read this, go and read this, go and read this. That is what they did. Okay, and many of them were very poorly implemented in the first place. You cannot prepare speeches for people to come and read for people. Then you say it's a dialogue. Is that a dialogue? The fact that the war was ongoing at that time, you cannot have an ongoing crisis, then you don't let the people know that, hey, this discussion we're having is because you guys are fighting there. Okay, let's have some cessation of hostility for certain period. Let's see and invite certain people to come there and discuss. They never did that. Okay, they thought that sitting in Yaoundé will just stop the war like that. That's not how war ends. You have to make sure that every party is included in the negotiation. The fact that they invited only CPDM medias, like the newspapers and CRTV was there. The other medias were not even there to have that civil society engagements and all those things. It was there, so the media coverage was very restricted to the CPDM clique. Okay, and that was it. Yeah, you cannot have this kind of discussion that you don't want to address the root cause of the problem. You write passages and come and give to participants to read, and you say it is a national dialogue. The fact that it was not the Grand National Dialogue did not have international support, it was very difficult to succeed, because international support is good so that the international community understand that, okay, this is what is going on, this is what was discussed, these are the resolution, everybody is included. Why do you think Switzerland came up and said the Grand National Dialogue was a failure? Canada said the same thing. The United States said the same thing, that the discussions, the Grand National Dialogue was not inclusive. Okay, it was not inclusive, and that was what stemmed the failure of that Grand National Dialogue. And the federalists who attended till today, if you ask them, what did you get from the Grand National Dialogue, they will say the Grand National Dialogue failed. Okay, it failed because if you see all what went there and the discussion that you have from Bishop Nkea, you see that most of the CPDM members were not forthcoming. A lot of them said that they granted them special status, but you ask yourself, the special status that they claim is one of the outcome of this Grand National Dialogue, what did he achieve? What did he achieve? They said that they will grant autonomy to the local government. What autonomy? They what autonomy did they grant to this local what they call divisions and subdivisions and so on and so forth? Nothing. Okay. Then they started creating those bilingualism commission. What does bilingualism got to do with the cry of Southern Cameroon? Majority of Southern Cameroonians are already bilingual. We learn French in the hard way. For us that went to universities in the French areas, understand what you're talking about, where a French teacher will come and be teaching you in French. That course, if you don't pass that course, you are on your own. You have to go and start hustling to see how you can get translations. You have courses that are strictly French courses. If you don't pass that course, that's your business. That is what we went through. So we tend to get a sense of French language long ago. We were forcefully learning the French, but they did not understand the importance of learning English. Is when they come to America, that's when they say, if I knew, I would have studied English, because everywhere is English. Where do I have to use my bonne français that I learned in the university? Nowhere. Nobody. Where do I speak French? But English is everywhere you go. Everywhere you go in the world is English. So we don't need to learn French anymore, because we don't see where we're going to use French. They have to learn English. Okay? So that's the difference. Decentralized administration. What are you talking about? Decentralized administration. The SEOs are still there. All these guys, director of this, they are there just to make sure that not all these positions that can be elected positions, the mayor, the parliamentarians, all these senators, they don't have a say. Because these people, even the governor that should be elected is appointed. Tell me what kind of governance do you want, which is so centralized? And they said they gave during the Grand National Dialogue, they gave the status of decentralized administration. And listen, decentralized in education, they talk of education, health, and infrastructure. That is Senator Mbelamoki crying till today. There is no road. So what infrastructure is being decentralized? Can the mayor decide a budget or for building schools or building hospitals or building roads? Everything comes from Yaoundé. That's why is Mbelamoki going to the assembly to cry when they said that they were going to give the regional assembly. So what's the sometimes it makes me laugh, because the things that they did on that Grand National Dialogue was to blindfold these our people who call themselves federalists. Most of them have gone to obsolete. They don't want to talk about federation anymore, because they have seen that these people will never be trusted in anything federal system. Never. They will just put all those things, nice discussion on paper, but in reality, it will never happen. So those are people who went for Grand National Dialogue, learned their lesson. They're the one coming to cry today, because none of those things have been implemented. They say control over your land. The special status will give greater control over their land. Who can tell you that they will have greater control over what land? The land grabbing that we see now there, is that a special status where DOs and SDOs will come and be selling people's land? Even government land, even CDC land. You hear the other day, Atayanji was complaining to the governor that those lands, that they should stop selling those lands. There's a lot of land grabbing. All government's land have been sold to people. They don't care. Okay, they don't care because it's a free land for them to sell, and they have, you see, they'll fast build houses there so fast so that it will remain theirs. Okay, that is the thing. But they will say, oh, in the special status, they say they'll grant a special control over their land. And these people who attended that Grand National Dialogue believe them. They believe, because if they don't believe, how do you believe that that will give you special status to have control over your land? When did these people say that? Were you there when they said that? Or do you believe them when they say that? They cannot do it. They will just say, okay, we'll give you this, we'll give you all those nice languages, they will use them. Education and culture, that is what they said. They will use promoting Anglophone education system. What do you promote? How do you promote any? That is a system that is there. You instead have to remove the French system in the Anglo-Saxon system. You brought your system to impose there, and all the government schools were changed now to government bilingual school, government bilingual. Then you are bringing your teachers there to come and be teaching language they don't even know. Teaching classes. That thing that they will change baccalaureate, this BAPC, this. We know when you go to secondary school, you have from 1 to from 5. You get lower seat and upper seat, and you graduate. But here they will have 4 years in secondary school, 2 years in this, and 1 year in back or what. Then you go now to master. For their own master's degree is what they call maîtrise. I don't know what you are maîtrise. Maîtrise means you are learning something. And master's degree, you go and be maîtrise. That's the name of it, maîtrise. What is maîtrise? Then you finish maîtrise. 1 year, you go and do another 1 year. That's when their own master. The system is just funny. Yeah, and that's why you hardly see French universities being in top universities in the world. Is the United Kingdom universities. Those are top-notch universities in the world because of the system. The system is different, Before, when you go to technical school students they had very good labs. Back in the days of Ombe students were the one building roads. Immediately they graduate, they'll start working in public works, in all these road construction companies, PWD. Ombe back then was producing all these serious technical school students. Today technical school, you have technical schools in. They have just been having their thing of baccalaureate, BAPC, all those things. Then they finish, then they don't know anything. Everything is only big names, BAPC, baccalaureate, BAPC. Then you ask them, what can they do? They don't know anything. Technical school back then, it was they will go and be training in the public works, having internships in public works. They will go and train them there. So when you come out, you can do something, you can join the workforce. That is the use of education. Education is not go and sit in class for 10 years and come and sit back in the in the quarter. They have to be fast-track educational system where parents don't wait for their children for years before they start working. Every student from 5 needs to start working. As you reach the age of 15, 16, you need to send your children to start working, going for internship in various industries to learn how to work. Be practical in what they are learning, so that once they graduate, they are already ready for the workforce. That is how a country is built, where the youths are put to work. But the system in Cameroon, you have ancestors who are still having the old sense of doing things. The youth who are very smart, they don't want to put them to work. Ancestors are still leading the government, and they don't want to leave office. They don't want. They say the youths are the future leaders, but they don't want the youths to work. It's so bad, because that's a system that we want to fight against, because you cannot have a system where the educational system is so disrupt, the economic system is so corrupt, taxation, they just know how to tax people. That's all they know. Just add the taxes, the people will pay. Just keep adding. If the Cameroonese people are not that dumb somehow, they will not allow these people to be adding taxes to them like this. Because in Kenya, remember they tried this in Kenya. The Kenyan people went out on the street. They went out on the street and said they will not allow this tax increase. What did the government in Kenya do? They had to stop it. Because when you increase taxes, you put more burden on the people. Whereas there is no salary increase. You increase taxes, the salary remains the same. And what happened? Of course, that's you are cutting from the people's income. You are cutting from the people's income. And there was a voice that these people put taxes in everything now. You want to, those people who are traveling back home, 40,000. That's almost $100. That you tax people who are coming from abroad or who want to travel at the airport. Airport tax, back then, I understand airport tax used to be 10,000. Now it's 40,000. Airport traveling back and forth, you need 80,000 Cameroon money if you are traveling now. 40 when you are going, 40 when you are coming. That is how they have made that country now. Just increase the taxes. It's because there is it's a consumer economy. Consumer economy where nothing is being produced in Cameroon. Everything is eating, consume. It's not a producing economy. They eat everything. Consumption, drink, eat, chop, drink, eat, chop. That's all what they do. You ask them, can't you produce even a made thing that they don't know how to do it? They only import, consume, and that's all. The youths, the children who are going to school today, they know nothing about production economy. They know nothing about entrepreneurship. Nothing. They are just as zero as the government itself. That is it. They say that they're gonna for the Grand National Dialogue, the special status thing, right? Let's go back to the special status. They say they're gonna establish security forces. Back then we had the police. The police was controlled by. We did not have an army. Army came when these people occupy our land, when and put army bases all across Ambazonia. Ambazonian people had just mobile police. They call it mobile wing. That's all they had. So the system was just like in Switzerland. Switzerland doesn't have any other thing. They don't have their police force. They don't have the army. Okay. That is it. They say that the special status guarantee that all the people of Anglophone region will have appropriate representation in the national institution and decision-making bodies, including the National Assembly and other key government offices. This is what they have been saying all along, right? But if you go and look at it critically, most of the thing that's not political party. Those are selected individuals who are selected by the government to go and represent them. They don't go and represent the people. Whereas if you have representative, the representative is going there to discuss on the people's agenda. It's not on the agenda of the government. That's why all these people are going there to, Mbelamoki was crying there. He understands the situation he is because he was selected. Nobody elected Mbelamoki, and that's what he got for being member of the occultic regime. Okay, they said there will be transitional justice. They said transitional justice for the special status. Said there will be mechanism for transitional justice to address the grievances. Okay, to address the grievances of those affected by the conflict, including a focus on reconciliation, reparations, and healing, ensuring that the Anglophone population is able to participate in the post-conflict recovery process. If you are genuine for reconciliation, you are genuine for reparation. Reparation means paying people who are affected, right? If you are genuine for healing, the first step is what? The release of people who are in your dungeon. We have more than 3,000 Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians, who are now incarcerated in the dungeons of La République du Cameroon. 3,000. And when you talk of reconciliation, what do you mean? Is it to reconcile you and yourself, or to reconcile who? Who do you want to reconcile? Because you know that even the Nigerian government asks you that, okay, pay these people, send them back so that we can start negotiation process. Since the Nigerian High Court passed a judgment to release the Naira 10 and all those people in Kondengi, has the Cameroon government accepted that? No. Then a Grand National Dialogue that was held in 2019, one of those things have not been implemented. One of those resolutions. Then you take that government seriously. Transitional justice. Reparations. They were supposed to pay all those people certain amount of money. The Naira 10, all those guys who were arrested in Nigeria, Naira 10 and all those guys, they have a certain amount of money that the Nigerian High Court passed. Okay, but do we see that happening today? I don't think so. But Honorable Wiba already made it clear to them. Okay, he said that our ancestors, our forefathers trusted you to go into a gentleman's agreement that two people who consider themselves brothers could go to live together. And if this is what you show us after 35 years or 55 years, then those who are saying that we should break Cameroon are right. They are correct. The people of West Cameroon cannot be your slaves. The people of West Cameroon are not, you did not conquer them in war. Honorable Wiba, December 14, 2016. If you can remember that, you know what Honorable Wiba was saying, okay? Let me play it for those people who do not remember what he said in that parliament in 2016 about the mistreatment, the exploitation, how these people have been mistreated, the people of Southern Cameroon. And when Honorable Wiba stood up in this parliament and said this, he was chased out. He's now in the United Kingdom on exile because of being honest to the truth.
Nation that you call yours, people can do what has been done to our children in West Cameroon. I call it West Cameroon because you will never take it out of our mouths again, because that is a territory in which we believe in freedom. To go out on the street and demonstrate is a basic right for us. And that is why we are saying that there are two Cameroons that came together. If you are telling us, like a state minister stood here last year and told us that what happened in Cameroon is like dropping a few cubes of sugar into a basin of water. Who is the sugar and who is the water? I'm asking the government bench of Cameroon. Who is? That you rape our children. My brother's daughter has been raped in Boya. I swear to you, the government of this country, does the president of this country know that the governors and the DOs and all the administrators who are sent to West Cameroon are out there behaving exactly like an army of occupation? Our people have nowhere to go. We have made all the efforts. Our ancestors and our forefathers trusted you to go into a gentleman's agreement that two people who considered themselves brothers could go to live together. If this is what you show us after 55 years, then those who are saying that we should break Cameroon are right. They are correct. The people of West Cameroon cannot be your slaves. The people of West Cameroon are not, you did not conquer them in war. If this is what you are saying that we should live in, I say simply, no, it will not work. How do you have an army that's supposed to protect children? Step out there, beat them, and rape some. It is not heard of in any country. This is the 21st century, and anybody who does that, I cannot be willing for his government to pay the price. We will exact it on you, because you are making us believe that we went to the wrong place. What is there to say? I want the world to know and to have it on record that we have made efforts. I have sat with ministers and listened to them talk. The first one was the then Minister of Justice, Amadou Ali, 10 years ago. And I took my time, drove from Congo to Yaoundé to tell him something is brewing out there. This thing that you people are sending gendarmes to beat people up and say all of these things, there is pain in West Cameroon. And as Minister of Justice, be very careful. What happens there? And he turned around, looked at me, and told me, Mr. Wilbur, it is your people who choose to come here. He is alive. He told me.
Wow. Just taking us some memory lane for you to understand how far we have gone in this struggle. This was 2016 when Honorable Wilbur stood in the parliament. I was telling them, okay, you cannot call us 2 cubes of sugar. Those 2 cubes of sugar, that the men that were so small for them to melt and defeat or dissolve, and nothing will happen. That's what those ministers were saying. But after 8 years, there they are. Billions and billions of dollars have been spent in this war. Millions of CFA, all the resources. Now there's economic crisis. They don't know how to end the war. They have more than 3,000, 4,000 innocent soldiers that have gone and lost their life there, and they don't know how to end the war. Honorable Wilbur was right. We went to a gentleman agreement. Our forefathers thought that leaving Nigeria, leaving fry pan, they did not know that they are coming to fire. Nigeria did the same thing for 40 years that we live with Nigerians. 40 years. So we have tested both Nigeria and now we have tested Cameroon. So why is there any reason why they say that we'll have to stay with them? When we left Nigeria, there was no problem. Yes, our parents left Nigeria, there was no problem. You hear what Honorable Wilbur just said. We went to a gentleman agreement. It was an agreement, and any agreement, if it's not working, can be broken. It's not forced that we must live with you. If not, the Nigerian government would have declared war on us too. But it's because we are not the same country. We had separate independence. We had separate colonial past. Why are you forcing us that we must live with you? When we think we believe that is not working. We are not 2 cubes of sugar. It's not working. It's not working. We have tried the experiment with Nigeria before. Our parents left the house. If these parliamentarians and senators were genuine people like our forebears did, they would have walked out of this parliament of and that's all what many international organizations, the many people that we have met are telling us, that the only people that are holding us spellbound with these people are the parliamentarians and senators. If they can leave that parliament and come to Boya, no, those 48 after 48 hours, any relationship ends there. That's all what they told us. 48 hours. All the parliamentarians and senators from Southern Zone and Northern Zone, they come back to Boya. After 48 hours, any relationship between Cameroon and that people ends. But can these people do it? They're going there begging for roads, begging for stuff. They have just one thing to do. Like what our forebears did. The Funchas and the Endeli took the right decision. They left the Nigerian House of Enugu, came back to Boya, formed their government, and they became one of the best democracy in Africa. So it's not something that we have to talk much about, but these parliamentarians and senators know the right thing to do. To save their people, to save the nation, the nation of West Cameroon, the nation of Southern Cameroon, and the nation of Ambazonia, to be free from this bondage. Thank you for listening. God bless you. God bless the people of Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia.
Ekuma